Hey y'all, this is Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey Kat. And this is the Fake Ass Book Club. Wait, can we both say it or no?
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Fake Ass Book Club. This is your girl, Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey, Kat.
Hey, Moni.
What's up, friend?
Oh, not much. Just staying warm out here,
Oh, my gosh. You know what? You guys, we're in the Midwest. We live in Indiana. So those who don't know that, they call it the middle of America. We're in the in-between flyover states.
The crossroads of America.
The crossroads of America, if you will.
Us.
And we've had a real, it's been a snowy winter. We got, 8 inches of snow the other day. And then, I don't know, it snowed yesterday, and there's just bunches of snow. And so, it's cold here.
Mm-hmm.
And
but like I said on our live, we're colder.
And it's cold in the D too, probably. Why did our friend send me that?
I did
send
see
you
that. Yes. Shout out to DJ
Todd. You're ignorant.
Who's never available to record.
You're ignorant, and I'm sick of it.
We're talking about you, and you can't do anything because you can't show up.
Boom,
Show up here and fight me
in your face. Okay, so, but no, before we get into our book and all that stuff, just really quick, I need to complain about this because it's been so cold that on Wednesday I was like, okay, my son couldn't find his gloves. So I'm like, all right, the next day, I'm going to go to Target before work and then run in there real quick, grab some gloves. So I go into Target and...
Oh, you're such a good mom.
Bitch, do you know there were no gloves anywhere to be found? Do you know what I did find, though, however? Would you like to guess?
Beauty supply.
I didn't go to the beauty supply, but thank you for the answer.
Oh. Beauty supply be having some good-ass gloves.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome. That's where I got mine.
Listen, I saw a whole section. The whole kids section was all swimming suits, cover-ups. This was January the 8th. And I'm like, I'm sorry, we haven't even made it to Valentine's Day and y'all have the swim stuff out. I get when it's getting closer to spring break, March or whatever, in February around, around Valentine's Day. But I'm like, you mean to tell me there's no gloves or coats? I didn't even see any uniforms. Heaven forbid my kids grow out of their school clothes. I said, I was so mad. So then I asked somebody, I'm like, yo, are there gloves here hidden away somewhere? Is there a little end cap somewhere? Of course there was. The tiniest end cap, y'all, with the one size fit all gloves that ain't warm at all. That's all they had. And I was so mad because I thought I spent moments before my work day going here to try to find something and didn't have it. So I was pissed.
They go after last year's metrics of what sold. And for the past couple of years, to be fair, we haven't had winters for real. Because Target doesn't really care. They're a national conglomerate. They don't care about us.
Where we are or what we need.
They're just going off of data as to what they supply. And since last year, not that many people probably bought gloves. This year, the demand went up. I'm not saying that this should have happened to you. I'm sorry that happened to you. And now, now you do know where to go for kids' gloves.
Yeah, F Target,
and they have
the
little insulated boys too.
Do they? I'm going because I was like, ordering stuff like that online is hard because then it's like you might get it, they don't fit. You know what I'm saying?
I try not to order stuff online.
I know you do.
Yeah, I'm weirdo.
I'm like, I didn't want to have to do that. I wanted to go and get them. Anywho, that's just my little complaint because I just thought it's January 8th and I can't find gloves in the middle of the damn winter in the Midwest.
My children gloves.
It's stupid. Well, your kids don't wear coats, so
they sure don't.
And I make my kids.
My oldest does.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
actually he's had some nice coats. He had this little powder lavender boy the other day.
See, that's because he can stunt. You know what I mean? If he, I appreciate that about him. That's what's up.
Yeah, he was frosty. Now,
oh my gosh.
But now my daughter has been talking more about if I find a coat I like.
Okay, well, find a coat you like. It's 8 degrees out here, okay, and it's cold.
But she don't spend no time outside.
So, well, good for her, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
She's living it up.
Okay.
Anywho,
you guys, sorry about the little rant. We're not here to talk about that, but we are here to talk about our book this week, which is Who's That Girl? A Memoir by Eve, EVE. For those of you who want a little synopsis about the book, let me start here. So, this book was co-written with Kathy Iandoli, I think it is. It's a captivating exploration of Eve's journey from her beginning in Philadelphia to becoming a trailblazing rapper and entertainer. Eve's candid and vibrant storytelling makes it both a personal and cultural testimony, highlighting the challenges and rewards of defying expectations in the music industry. Wow.
Yep.
Wow, that's basically what it was.
It did all that.
Basically what it was, you guys. And so before we kind of get into the book, you guys, let's do this dedication, okay?
Sure.
So hands over your hearts, everyone. Thank you so much, specifically to our patrons. You guys are the best. We appreciate your continued support. And you know what? This week, I'm going to dedicate this episode to all of the people who get stuck working in this kind of weather. If you're not from somewhere that, is in the northern hemisphere where it's winter right now and you may or may not get snow, you don't understand. They still want you to do stuff even when it snows. Like, I still had to drive to work when most of the city was closed. So just shout out to the people that keep our roads safe. Shout out to all the people who don't get to stay at home just because there's mountains of snow outside.
Real talk.
Yeah. What about
I showed
friend?
you the parking lot at my job
It was
when I had to go to.
I did.
Anyway, yes, and my dedication for this episode is going out to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the hometown of our author and subject, and the scene of Abbott Elementary. Like, they did a crossover episode with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is one of my... it just came on last week. You have something to look forward to. It's fine. You're in for a treat.
Oh, my God.
You're in for a treat when it comes up. I won't spoil it, but it was perfection.
Oh, my God.
I was so happy, and it made me want to go back, and we started, rewatching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because I hadn't watched it in so long.
I love it.
And... just to give our listeners, if you haven't ever watched it, the title of the first episode is The Gang Gets Racist.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you like that.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
It's to me, a good description of the show would be kind of like Seinfeld in Philly. So kind of like broke Seinfeld.
Let's go.
Yeah, because it's like four jerks and a lady. Or not a lady, some gal. And they're just get into antics.
I'm mad that you specify she wasn't a lady.
She's not a lady.
Awesome.
No,
I
Sweet
like that.
Dee's not a lady.
Ooh, that's going to be fun.
Hilarious. So dedication over.
Okay.
Dedication over.
Excellent. I love it, friends. Okay. So, if you have a little bit about the author, I mean, there might be people from other places who maybe aren't familiar, or who I don't know.
No, I asked my son today. He didn't know who she was.
Yeah, I was gonna say people younger than us may not
But
know.
when I sang the songs, he knew the songs.
He knew. Okay, that's what's
so,
up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Eve Jahan Cooper, known professionally as Eve, is an American rapper, singer, songwriter, actress, and television personality. Born in 1978 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, she made history with her debut album "Let There Be Eve," Rough Riders' first lady, becoming the third female rapper to have an album debut #1 on the Billboard 200. Her sophomore album "Scorpion" further solidified her success, earning a Grammy for Best Rap Sung collaboration with Gwen Stefani for the hit single "Let Me Blow Your Mind," the first ever in that category. Eve also ventured into acting, starring in her own sitcom Eve from 2003 to 2006, and appeared in films like Barbershop. Beyond music and acting, Eve became co-host of CBS talk show The Talk in 2007. Her career spans over 2 decades, and she is celebrated as one of the pioneering women in hip-hop, and she is also the mother to Wild.
Aww.
Which should also be on the resume. I feel like your kids should always be on the resume.
My mom always says that too.
Hard. It's a very important
the
job.
work you do.
If you don't do a good job, it makes the world worse.
Literally makes it suck a lot more.
It's like she didn't. People, because when people drop the ball, they make murderers.
Or worse.
Oh, like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We don't know if he has murdered somebody he could have.
Exactly. Well, this isn't about him.
No, not even a little.
But
fuck his mom.
Okay.
She did, but fuck her.
Okay, moving right along, guys. Sure, she did. She looked weird too.
She did a bad
Google
job.
her.
She did a bad job.
We're not impressed. But also, you guys. But Eve, I'm super impressed with her. I was really excited to read her memoir. I actually read it a little while ago.
Okay.
Because when I saw that it came out, I just thought I've always liked Eve. I always liked her style, and so.
And she's so pretty.
It's
hard to hate beautiful people.
She's gorgeous. But and I think when she came out too, I didn't realize after reading this book how young she was when her success really popped.
Same, because she's close to our age, so you always feel grown. It's like, I'm 19, I'm grown.
Yeah,
no, you're a moron.
You're basically an idiot. And
but she handled it very well. Like, of all she obviously made some mistakes, but I don't know. I think she did a good job.
Oh my God, I really liked it. And so to me, this book sort of was broken up into, she had 4 studio albums, and I feel like each section of the book kind of talked about like her first album, and it's like a certain section of her life, her second album. And so you're kind of walking her through the evolution of her artistry and stuff like that.
The evolution?
The evolution, obviously. And yeah, it was really, I liked hearing about her childhood, you know, her growing up and her inspirations and stuff like that. Knowing her aunt really inspired her because of her love of music, and just really the way she grew up with like all of her family all around and stuff like that. That was really endearing and stuff like that. So I loved her backstory. I loved hearing about her growing up in Philly, her skipping school.
It kind of reminded me of a little bit Pharrell's movie.
I didn't see it.
It's similar.
Really?
It's a similar form of storytelling. Of course, he did his with the Lego movie, but just about how, you know, I've always wanted to do music and just how they got into it. Then the ups and downs. Yeah. Because we only see, you know, they're around our age, so it was before social media, we only see the highs. And it's important to see what it takes to get to those highs.
Well, and I'm always impressed by people who, like, even like, I guess what you're saying, Pharrell too, who like you just always knew you wanted to be an artist. You always knew you wanted to be a rapper, a designer, whatever. I don't know the focus it takes, because like, I mean, I feel like it'd be like you're just like I know this is what I am here to do.
Purpose.
Yeah, which is really, really crazy and impressive, because, and I don't know if that's what youth does. You know, at a certain point, but you do have to kind of have the goods too, though. So like that was the thing that I was really impressed by. It seemed like her natural talent, people, when she was sharing her talent, people saw it and people recognized it, and so she was getting her.
Let's go to the strip club, because to me that was funny, because she was talking about how like people would always try to throw in her face that she worked in a strip club, but she was like, I'd be in there rapping. Yeah. Like, she was like, I actually kind of hated, I actually put in my notes, like, it reminded me a little bit of Michelle Obama's memoir when she talked about being a lawyer. The way Michelle Obama described being a lawyer is how Eve described being a stripper.
Oh, hated it.
Yeah, which is like, I don't hate it as like a job. I think it's a job people should have. It's just not for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, she's like, I was happy to return as a customer.
Yeah.
But I'm not, this doesn't feel right to me. This doesn't sit right with my soul. Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is just the way she was writing about it. I was like, this just feels very similar to, I just saw some
interesting.
parallels.
Wow. Because I forgot about that little part. And I wouldn't have thought to compare it to Michelle Obama's book. That's crazy.
I do that.
But I see what you're saying. But I hear what you're saying, though. And it was definitely, I mean, but that's the thing sometimes about jobs like that, right? Like, you know, the allure of the job isn't necessarily the job itself. It's like, it's the payoff, right? Like you typically go after these law jobs or even like in sex work, because you know that there's the potential to make that money. And it's like, some people are built for that and some people ain't. Yeah. And she was like, yo, I hated it. And she talked about that first customer, her being like, yo, I'm going to rap for you if you hated the dances for free. You know what I'm saying? And then I would rap and he'd like it and pay me anyway and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's what's up.
She's like, I think the chapter was worst stripper at the club or laziest stripper at the club.
Laziest, I believe it was.
Stripper at the club. Yeah. She's like, yeah, our manager hated me.
Yeah.
It was so funny. It's
cute.
great because I love a memoir. We talked about this before.
We
like
do.
Fab loves a memoir.
Yeah, I do.
Because they reminded me of some other Black lady memoirs. Viola Davis.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, because she was talking about how she grew up and her father, you know, had substance abuse issues and would be violent.
Oh, yeah.
But then suddenly mellowed out. Yeah. And then I was like, damn, that's what Viola Davis said. I was like, so is that what? Should I just have stuck in my abusive marriages until they mellowed out?
Is that a question for me?
Yeah.
You want me to answer that on the air?
Yeah. I'll take it out if we have to.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, cool.
That was the tame answer. There was more cuss words in my mind. I'm glad I said them to myself in my mind first.
Why? It's a fake ass book club.
Yeah, fuck that.
Man, no.
You know
but it was just funny to me because I was like, Viola Davis said the same thing. Her daddy was like crazy violent, and then one day he was just like, oh, man.
She said she was like, what, in her 30s the first time he like gave her a hug or said she loved him or something, and she was like, this is weird.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very interesting. I think it's the testosterone.
Yeah. But it was and then the mixture of that with the alcohol. Some people it just don't sit right.
Drugs.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah,
I've definitely heard that.
Yeah, you don't want to mix those up. But yes, I'm glad that she was able to mend that relationship though. That was
heartwarming. Yeah, and then too, like even before she got to the script club, script club. Before she got to the script club. That sound like Glorilla's accent. No shade, but was that Memphis? That was Memphis. Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. No, it just reminded me that just thinking about her being lazy. Like she would skip school and stuff like that. Not saying that that's lazy. I did that too sometimes, but they had like security and stuff. She was talking about her high school being like, you know, basically a prison.
Basically, like
and
the school
it was
police
terrible.
And there's police station. That's
a police station in
no
your
wonder people hate going to school. Like,
of course, I just want to get high and do music. This place sucks.
What is so hard? And don't let me get into a whole tirade about her because I will say it. Kat says it all the time, but at least I don't know how it is in Philly, but I know in Indiana our school system was set up by the Ku Klux Klan.
Right,
so it's not great. They had a lot of bad ideas.
Yeah, and there's still some bad ones that are happening.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But
also, the thing that stood out in her early life, the crack epidemic.
Yeah,
this comes up a lot in a lot of the memoirs we read.
Yep.
Crack
Jay-Z.
was a big deal. Like we always get over it. It's like crackheads, but no, it was like it ruined our community.
Yeah,
like it was really, and it makes me sad every time I think about it because damn, they really did a number.
Well, and to get out unscathed,
and as a reminder too, because everybody be like, oh, Ronald Reagan. Fuck Ronald Reagan. He was a big part of the crack epidemic. Him, the first George Bush, and who was that? Oliver North. They all conspired to do the Iran-Contra to get the cocaine from the Contras and then dump it into our communities. So it wasn't just like, oopsie.
Random. Black people just love crack.
Black people, they just love their drugs.
Yeah.
It's not because we're worse. It was like we were conspired against and what?
And science works. It's
Science
like chemistry
worked
is
every
a thing.
time.
Yeah.
And then and then you demonize addiction and just keep in mind that look into the kids. It's a real thing. And Ronald Reagan was a criminal.
Well, and I'm just glad that she didn't get caught up in that. You know, like I do think that a lot of people, like, you know, knowing that the arts and music and stuff like that is a lot of times the only sort of, you know, that and sports outlets of getting out the hood. And so, like, you know, good for her that she was able to be resourceful enough to use the thing that she was like passionate about and actually talented at to escape that circumstance.
Yeah. But I just don't feel like escape should be necessary.
We
should not create a hellscape in our communities. Like there shouldn't be, of course, I want people to, you know, go into whatever areas they want to explore, but this idea of the ultimate success is getting out of the hood. No, the ultimate success is healing our communities.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it is.
Yeah, like, because you can always find yourself back there. So do you want to go back to hellscape?
And ideally you want to go back and help, but I think it's hard to do that when it is a hellscape. Like
I said, you're up against the Ronald Reagans of the world.
Yeah.
So, like I said, like I'm not blaming Eve for this. As a matter, I mean, because if you can escape by all means. But
Eve, this is your fault. You heard it here first. Kat said, "Fuck that. You should have." No, I'm just kidding. No, she didn't.
The ultimate success is
for sure.
lifting, getting rid of that mentality of them and us, like that whole thing. Like it's just us.
Yeah, man.
It's just us. So that was. I wanted to make sure I got that crackety crack in there real quick.
You had to do that.
I had to.
I like how she started the book though. Like I like how she got into her name and stuff. We've talked about this on the show.
I've done paintings about it. I'm sorry for yelling.
You have. But we've talked about that, just like Eve sort of being like the first woman in original sin and the reason why the world sucks. And, you know, she just, you know, the idea that
cause
like
of chaos in the world.
Period. And it's like, she was like, I did not know why my mom named me that. Like I hated my name for the longest because I felt like I was being associated with something really terrible. And then as she got older, her growing into it and realizing her middle name, Jahan, means universe. And then like Eve is first woman. woman, so first woman of the universe, and just how like her life played out and being the first lady of Rough Riders and trailblazing, rap in a lot of ways as a female and stuff like that, and how
fearlessly,
fearlessly,
and unapologetically.
Oh my God, man! I mean, because like I said, I always liked Eve, but this book really made me be like, damn, I had so much more respect for her just in that space.
Foolishly, as a young person watching this person succeed, I just figured it was easy for her. I'm like, she's gorgeous and talented. How hard was it?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's pretty hard.
I mean, and for me, it's like I never even consider any of that. You just see the finished product and it's just the finished product.
Great.
Like, I'm not even thinking about any of that stuff. If it was hard or if it wasn't.
Or people
like,
playing your deal and like having to get, like you get signed. Like this to me just seems very similar when you really look into artist stories. Like you get signed and then you get dropped and then you make money and then it loses money and then you're out. I hear this a lot. She brought up Michael Jackson about his record label was even trying to play him.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff like is very real. Like it's
right. And then for us, it's like, feels like rich people problems type stuff. But also, I feel like it just highlights the system, you know what I'm saying? Because we experience it in different ways with different infrastructures in our lives. It's not like the record company, but maybe it's your insurance company playing in your face about, your premiums and you're paying into stuff and they're not paying you back. And then even just checking your bill. Like I look at my bills and I'm always making sure like on my EOB, like, do they cover this?
Because I don't do that auto pay. Like I don't do auto pay. I'm like,
let me go back
look
and
at this
see
bill before y'all just take it out my account, because then all of a sudden be like, oh,
we rose the price, $12.
Oh, word. Yeah. It's like, okay, no, let me run this back. But to touch on something you said though, going back to like the biblical Eve.
Yes.
Because I have a painting, I'm gonna throw it up here now. Boom, the vindication of Eve. Because I actually even like circled the Bible verses that because the way it's taught is like it was all Eve's fault. But if you read the story, there's actually 2 accounts of the Adam and Eve story in the Bible. If you bother to, the English versions anyway.
Okay.
If you bother to go in and read it, like it's not Eve's fault. Like even if this is just a story, which probably is, like even in this telling of this story, it's not Eve's fault. Like they're just blaming her because it's just easier to blame the woman and her sinful body. So it's like, oh, she just made Adam eat this fruit because what? Was she gonna fuck somebody else? There's only one other guy.
Yeah, like what's the problem? That's a good point.
In the canon of this story. So yeah, it's worth reading because we're a literacy advocacy podcast. It is worth reading one or both of these stories and seeing what you take from it.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that sucks though when you get a name and you're like, what in the hell? But I love to see that she grew into it and ended up just loving her name and really embodying it. Yeah. Because like when we were introduced to Eve, it was like, what was the song where she had the cornrows? She talked about it too, doing that video. What y'all really want? You can't touch. Yeah, and she
what
had
y'all really
she was just, and I think what was refreshing about Eve at the time too was, and she touches on this, just her style was just authentically her. Like she never really, and this is no shade to the girls who are popping ass and doing all that kind of stuff though, but I just feel like it was important for her because she started off as a battle rapper. So a lot of that is like very male dominated. You don't see a lot of women in that. And for her,
leader confidence.
Yeah, she was like, I'm coming for the next. She was like, I was never intimidated to go up against men because it was really easy to break them down. You know what I'm saying? She was like, all I have to do is talk about make a couple notes about whether you got a small dick or you could never have, whatever it is, just play to their egos basically. But she had the lyrical talent to do so. And so I think it forced people to take her seriously because she was very, like it wasn't just a look. And I'm not even just saying with rappers, like sometimes it's more about the image than it is the artistry. And so because she took her artistry so serious, I felt like that came across in her music and stuff like that. Coupled with sort of that, she had that softness and that femininity, but it was like, I will beat your ass.
It was a great balance. It was perfection.
It was 90s perfection. I was like, yeah, I'm into that. And I do think that was kind of the 90s style though. Like it was kind of halfway in between being like a tomboy.
Yeah.
But
wore a tube top and some overalls.
Yeah, period. Yeah, all day. So yeah, that was really cute. So yeah, I loved going back to it.
So
Made me
who
go
do you
back
think
and
the
listen.
girl she was talking about where she said she wasn't necessarily embraced by the rap community?
I was trying to think of who was out at the time. I mean, I don't know if it was
Remy
Foxy
Ma?
Brown.
Oh, Foxy
or,
Brown.
Or
That's who-
maybe Remy, but
I don't know, because I feel like Foxy was so young.
so was she though.
That's true.
I don't know.
But it was sweet when her naivete of she thought she'd be embraced. Like,
Yeah,
because I go into spaces too where it's like, oh, it's women. We're the only women here, and instead of creating a sisterhood, they're just like they
Bitch,
just see
I
want to
be the only woman here. Yeah,
and that happens a lot of times when you're the only quote unquote minority in spaces.
True
Sometimes
that.
too, like you think there's going to be this camaraderie, and it was like, bitch, please.
Yeah.
Like I'm sooner with people would sooner set you up than
I hate
work
that.
with you, which is
I
very,
hate
very
that.
frustrating. But I'm glad that she never let that affect her. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
it's easy to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna do that too.
Right.
But she was never like that.
And that's what happens. And I feel like we've seen that happen, or at least that's been the narrative. Like, you take somebody, because she even talked about it. Like, I'm jumping ahead to the point where she was like in Barbershop. She was like the lead in that movie in terms of like billing and stuff like that. And then by the time they got to the other barbershop that Nicki Minaj was in, like she was popping and coming up. No, I didn't see that one. I'm sure it was great.
I feel like it was probably fine.
It's probably fine.
I mean, I feel like once you see one of the barbershops,
it's like Friday, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like you just revisiting the characters you love or whatever, if you're really into it or whatever. But she did make the point in that to say like, it was the first time she felt like what maybe some of those hip hop girls felt when she showed up on the scene as the it girl, and how it is intimidating, and that a lot of times it's not even probably coming from the artist, it's coming from their team.
People,
like the industry in and of itself creates that vacuum or creates that space that makes women feel like there can only be one girl in the crew and or whatever, and like there's this adversarial sort of aspect to it, but it's like it's not real. And like you said, I really appreciated the fact that like that she didn't choose to do that. She made it a point to say like, as a woman who's been in the game, I'm always there to either hop on a verse, obviously if I feel like it's good and I'm vibing or whatever, but I'm always there to give that advice that I feel like I didn't get. And I think that's important. I was like, yay, I love that. Cause I'm definitely that girl. Like I can point to actual people who I know that I've met and who I'm friends with now, where I was the only black person. They came in, and as the only black person, I'm like, hey, welcome. And they're like, yes.
Fellow black.
Yes, because it does feel.
It weighs on you.
It
It's
does
nice to
weigh
have
on.
someone else to hold. It's like taking a couch up the steps.
Man,
That's what
with
racism.
somebody.
That's what racism is like.
Man.
Racism is like taking a couch up the steps
By yourself.
And so if there's someone else who can hold the other end of the couch, it's just like, well,
Still
this still
heavy,
sucks.
but I got help
But
now.
at least like we have a chance.
Yeah, it is. And speaking of like support, the one thing that I did like that she mentioned was that, so she ends up, like you said, she had that deal with Dr. Dre, flew out to LA, had her apartment, was
Had
in
a
the
going away
rooms.
party and everything.
Of course, because I made it, right? And it makes you think about like what is making it. I think the idea of what making it is changes when you actually see what's involved. And so at that time, she ends up having to move back because I think a song that she did got on the soundtrack, but it didn't end up amounting to anything, and she was frustrated and went back home. And then when she actually got her record deal with with the Rough Riders and Interscope, I believe it was, she was I really liked that she highlighted that she was embraced by a community of men in hip hop, because that is not the story we hear all the time. We always hear about the sexual assaults and the the exploitive nature of the business. And I love that, she pointed out that like can I think of his?
DMX?
Thank you. God, that is so bad.
And
I
the
love
Lox.
DMX and the Lox and all of those guys, how they rallied around her, protected her, even when she met, because going back to the strip club, when she met Mace for the first time, because they knew that she rapped and stuff. She was like, he was like, you shouldn't even be.
You should never go back to that club.
You shouldn't do that if you really want to do this. And the fact of just having men who could
Decent.
exploit you, but then decide not to. Like that's always my thing. It's like you don't have to, just because a woman's positioning herself doesn't, like, she was a stripper not because she was there to be a sex worker for sure. She was looking at it as an ends to a means, like I think a lot of women are. A lot of people in sex work are.
But like she said,
And
she was in a privileged position because she knew even if she quit this, like she still had a place to stay. She said there were so many women there who were like taking care of their families, like they needed this. I need this.
which is like a way different story.
Yeah.
So, but I just love that she highlighted the fact that she had a lot of black men in her corner, a lot of hip hop people in her corner, because we just don't hear those stories. So I loved hearing that.
They were willing to fight Mike Tyson for
her.
That part was like,
I was like, yo.
Whoa. I don't know if I never had any men that were that down for me. That were just like, okay, this is how we gonna fight Mike Tyson. Because it was just a situation where they were at a club and he was making her uncomfortable.
Oh, I feel like I know some that would for me.
You do? Oh, I ain't had no niggas like that. But yeah, that'd have been like, you can run,
it's
right?
Like, right. It's like, so damn, where your shoes at? Why you wearing? And now it's your fault. Bitch, why you got them heels on and shit? I told you to bring.
Right.
Damn.
Like, oh man. But yeah. So that was dope. That was kind of fun.
I really, really love that. And then let's see, what else, friend? I mean, we had our sophomore album.
Well, I was gonna bring up
some.
Well, because it just reminded me of, because we're talking about the men who supported her, but not everybody was supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was just talking about how, like, a lot of people, I think, kind of iced her out because she was so talented. Like, a lot of times they just want you there to be cute and to be, sort of a rap bimbo. But she wasn't. Like, I'm as good as, and I feel like Megan said it better. She's like, these niggas don't like me because they know I'm on their neck.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, no, I have BARs. Okay.
For that ass.
So it's like, I'm not just here cute.
Right.
You know
I am cute too. You're welcome. But also.
Yes. I'm giving you vocals and visuals. So I think that 1-2 punch was sometimes very intimidating for the men.
Yes,
but
I agree.
Yeah, to skip back to barbershop.
Yeah.
That always really was very personal to me because I went to barber school and worked in a barbershop. So that Eve character just was kind of like, okay, I'm really feeling that. And that iconic scene of who drank my apple juice.
Because I'm going to whoop your ass.
Men are so trifling to work with. Can I just say that?
Tell us about it,
I
friend.
had
Do you have stories?
I mean, I do have lots of stories, as a matter of fact. Okay. I'm not going to get into all of them, but it did. You always talk about how, like, growing up with brothers just really gave you like a primer on what it's like to like what men are like.
Oh yeah.
Barber school was that to me.
Ugh.
And working in a exactly.
Gross.
And working in a barbershop was that to me. Because you find out how men really, a lot of men, not all men, but how a lot of men really are. And how they really are is trifling. I think one of the things that stood out to me that really was upsetting was that there was just expectation on me to clean up like the kitchen area because I was a woman. And I think I lashed out very
colorfully.
Yes. I think I made a sign on the microwave because
I love a nice passive aggressive sign.
It was just aggressive.
Direct
aggressive.
sign. Well, okay, good.
It was just aggressive. I bought a roll of paper towels out of my own money to set next to the microwave. It still wasn't being used. So I put a note on the microwave. If you don't cover your food before heating it, I will kill you in your sleep.
Oh, that was aggressive. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in your sleep.
Yeah.
You'll wake up dead.
I'm not kidding around. Like, I'm not here to clean up piss stains and do all this.
Yo mama.
I'm not here for that. I went to barber school just like you went to barber school. I'm paying the same booth rent as everybody else.
Right.
So it's like, why am I expected to just be like I'm supposed to be in here like, I'm just so happy to be here. No. Just because I have a vagina, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. And I also think, too, the expectation shouldn't be that because I'm in this space, I should be cleaning up after you. Like, that's pretty...
No. So yeah, I loved that movie for that reason where she was just like, yeah, I've had enough. You trifling ass niggas, you know good and goddamn well this is my apple juice. Like, you didn't go to the store, you didn't pay for this, you did. And I think any workplace, because I've heard this in other workplaces too, where it's just like clearly marked my food.
Yeah.
And here I think Ross did that on Friends.
He probably did.
Where he was like, you ate my sandwich?
Pissed.
My Thanksgiving leftover sandwich with the moist maker in the middle? You son of a bitch. I don't care care if you my boss.
No, I'm cussing you out today.
Yeah.
I'm willing to
And he's
lose
like,
my job.
I didn't eat all of it. It was a lot. I put, there's still some here in the
Why
trash.
would you feel comfortable? Why would you? It's just so rude. It's so rude.
I don't
it's so
understand
rude.
that mindset.
Yeah.
Like, I've never in my life been like, I don't treat the company refrigerator like a grocery store. Because you also didn't leave any money. I did that one time at the beauty shop I work at. Like, someone had some pops and I didn't know whose they were, and I just needed a pop one day, and I just left $1 in the thing.
It's
like
like,
it was
you know
still in
what?
the
I'm
thing.
taking it. Yeah.
Because it's like, I just out of, and they didn't care, but it was like, yeah.
But also, I'm not going to assume that they didn't, because they're not for me. So yeah, I think the least you can do is be like, you know what? Let me not assume that this person is.
I'm sorry,
cool
I got
with
all
it.
worked up.
You
Calm down.
did. You did, friend. Dang. Should we take a break?
Is it break time?
Let's take a break.
Okay.
We'll be right back. All right, you guys. So welcome back from the break. So, friend, we still have some more ground to cover in terms of this
she had
book,
a
friend,
life.
because she had a whole life. And you had asked earlier about like the rap girls, like, so in the book she does not name names. Like she is so classy. I
So
promise you, that
classy.
was the word. I was like, I really can appreciate the fact that like she's not naming names, because I thought maybe you wouldn't like that, because I know you like a little bit more messiness.
Well, I
than
understand. I feel like if in the memoir of my life, I probably wouldn't name my exes either, because they don't deserve it.
that part.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna, and I don't want you to be able to say like, oh, well, you only got because you mentioned. No, I'm obviously more famous than you, and because, like I said, I didn't even know who he was.
Did you? So okay. So she was talking about a love interest, somebody that she was deeply involved with for some years, and
That
it
put
was
her
a
through hell.
toxic relationship. All of the greatest hits of a terrible relationship, and I knew instantly who it was, because I was like, oh, I bet she's talking about Stevie the J, because.
I honestly did not know who he was until they talked about him on The Read, because I didn't watch Love and Hip Hop.
That's where I found
And
out about him.
Yeah, like I wasn't super familiar with him. I just know him as the guy who sexually harassed Crystal.
What?
Yeah.
He sexually harassed Crystal?
Yeah, he was like doing all that, looking up and down, licking his lips and stuff like that.
Ew.
Yeah.
That face. Y'all know the face if you've ever seen the face. Did you see the face?
I don't really know what I don't think I could
Bitch,
pick him
we're
out of a
looking it up now,
lineup. Like,
'cause
if
I
you had
can't
a
believe
bunch of,
this.
I just know he's a black man.
Yes.
And
there you go.
oh, okay. I mean, I think I might have described him as like the ultimate fuck nigga, like just from descriptions of like how women are around him, how he's treated women and stuff like that. And the fact that he's the one who basically she had to pay him off to get rid of a sex tape that he had released, which is
That's how I'm picturing him looking at Crystal with the hands and the.
That's just so messed up. And once again, it's a violation of consent. Because, and here at the Fake Ass Book Club, we love consent. Like, it's such a great way to move through life. Like, oh, I shouldn't violate someone's consent because their body belongs to them the same way my body belongs to me. So if someone has been kind enough to share their body with me, like, it's such a violation to then just show the world. Like, that's really messed up. But no one should be surprised that there are plenty of people in this world who are completely willing to violate your consent, which is why you should be very, very certain before you hit send on some nude photos, or at least keep your face out of it. You know what I mean? Like, if you just got to.
Just gotta do
You
it, man.
just
He's
got to.
He's gotta see this.
But even then, like, because once again, one of the lessons from barber school, the men just show them pictures to each other.
Oh my God. Well, so now remind me though, because in the book I don't feel like she really gets into it. I don't think she even talks about at length the sex tape.
She did. She talked about how embarrassing it was, and like how it just kind of came out of nowhere, and it was thrown in her face when she was on an episode of Fashion Police.
Oof.
Joan Rivers told her, like, she was like, "What is with you kids and these sex tapes?" And she was like, "Hold on." Like, hold up.
I ain't here to talk about that.
Right. I'm here to talk about clothes. But it is important to keep in mind, because I know in this day and age, nudes are super common. But just you should just be mindful that can come back up, even if you think you're on private mode. I don't know what kids think.
Well,
There's
even
nothing
now,
private about the
especially
internet.
now, because like back then when you were recording, I mean, maybe at the you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't as prevalent, and so I don't even know the context in which
It was grainy footage.
I've actually saw it.
I
back
saw
in
it
the
too,
day.
because back then I regret it, because now when there's leaked sex tapes, I try not to watch it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's a violation of consent. They didn't make that for me.
Yeah.
So, but back then, like I said, I watched the R. Kelly tape and stuff too.
That's one I never did see, but
they were showing it at the barbershops.
yeah, of course.
And so,
Jeez,
yeah, barbershops are wild.
yeah,
So,
but yeah, that is really messed up. I felt bad for her, but I instantly knew that it had to be Stevie J. She didn't name him, but because of the sex tape, I was like, oh, that's probably who she's
Yeah. I had
talking
to
about.
I had to Google
and so, okay,
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, okay, but yeah, just her decision seemed very.
rational. Just pay them off.
Yeah, it's like pay them off, and then also too, just her decision in the book not to name people, whether
Yeah.
it was like the catty bitches from back in the day, or the Stevie J. Because I did like how she was saying that, was she performing one time? Somebody was up in the balcony. It was like one of the rap girls was heckling her, saying stuff, and she was like, "Come down here and let's battle rap then."
Yeah.
You know what I'm
You got so
saying?
much
And
to
she was like,
say.
and then she left, and I was like, "That's what I'm talking
exactly.
about." Because sometimes it's just call these bitches out.
Yeah.
Come then. What? So what is it?
You're so
then?
big and
yeah,
bad.
like you. If it's that, then come down here and say something. Which she didn't. So, but moving a little bit farther along in her career, I mean, I liked that she was able to keep her, like, I mean, 4 albums. I mean, like the number of albums that she did. I mean, she was hitting platinum albums and stuff like that. It was crazy to hear that even after making a hit record or a hit CD, I don't know if you call it that no more. I feel hesitant to say it. But that's what it was, album, whatever. That you still don't have the executives trusting you with your creative processes.
Yeah, the fucking Suits, man.
It's crazy.
It's like they could never write a bar, but all of a sudden you got all this input and stuff like that. It's just like, shut up.
Gwen Stefani wouldn't have been on that song if she wouldn't have fought for that. Like, they were like, we don't
And
see
that was
that
the
for you. Let me
huge
blow your
hit.
mind was the shit. I was like,
I
such a good
loved
song.
it. And they looked like they were having so much fun.
You know they were.
And here's the other thing, and I think this happens in other like fields too, not just music, but so often people don't want to see you succeed unless they can credit themselves for that success. So they don't want to be able to point and be like, oh yeah, she did a great job and we let her do her thing. No, they want to be all like, well, we actually blah, 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 blah. And like all these useless ass suits, man. No, that was, to me, that was one of the most frustrating parts, because I can feel that, where it's like, you don't even know what I do. So how are you going to tell me how to do it?
Yeah, I just was like, okay, I'm glad that she was able to still find a way to get, like her ideas across, and just how validating that is, especially as an artist and as a woman, because there people have you second guessing your stuff, and then you see that it worked, and you're like, see, like I know I'm not
like
crazy.
that Glorilla song. Just like, stop overthinking. These hoes can't fuck with you.
Listen,
get them,
they
Glow.
just can't.
I'm like, yes, that's what, and I'm glad that's what the girls are listening to now. Like, get them, Glow.
Yeah.
Like, you the truth.
Yeah, I mean, the landscape has really changed when it comes to the rap girls, because like you said, I mean, there just wasn't the pool of women rap, women in rap. And so it is nice to see that has changed, that you see a lot more representation, a lot more voices in that space. And then what else, friend?
I was super excited when Scientology came up.
Oh my God.
I got so excited, I misspelled Scientology in my notes and put an exclamation point. It says Scientology. That's our cult.
Yay,
That we should start
Scientology.
Scientology. But check it out. Like, she went in there one time and was just like, I'm out. Like, y'all playing too much. I want to talk about the story where she met Janet Jackson.
Okay.
Because she struggled with not substance abuse, but she was going down the road of substance abuse and caught a DUI and had to do like all the 12-step stuff. And she's like, nah, I'm not alcoholic, but I was coming close to becoming one. And she ended up doing a thing that a lot of people do, which is not minding their drink. She thought, you're never safe. No matter, it's like, oh, I'm here with a bunch of rich people, I don't have to guard my drink. That stuff can happen anywhere. Somebody tried to tell me that one time I didn't need to lock my car because I was like in Geist. I'm like, what?
That's okay.
No, like no.
No.
You can get caught slipping anywhere. So like never let your guard down. So like, yeah, somebody put something in her drink and she started freaking out. And then all of a sudden Janet Jackson pops up. And she's like, oh my God, I've never met Janet Jackson before. You're my idol. I don't want to be like freaking out when I meet Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson's thorough. She was like, I've seen this before. Get her some water and aspirin, hot sauce, and some white bread. And it worked. She was able to calm down. So I wrote that down because that's just good to know. Like if anyone's ever having like a freak out. But then it was funny because she said hot sauce and white bread. And I immediately thought of fried fish. And like, you know.
The trifecta. I'm with it.
Like basically like, yeah. And I was able to. So yeah. But yeah, you got to be careful around here because I've heard some absolute horror stories about people being dosed. And it's a very real thing. Happens all the time. Rich, poor, everybody. Like, there's predators everywhere, as it turns out.
So sad.
So yeah, I think that was all my stuff about Eve. Oh no, there was some stuff I didn't like.
Okay.
So even though I think she's a great writer, there was a lot of incorrect uses of the word irony, and I would say that it was often overused. Like she said, irony, like that was very ironic. I think there's been some misunderstanding in the culture about what ironic means. Irony isn't like a coincidence or when something funny happens. Irony is opposite. So she was saying like, I think Troy was like her manager and she was just saying ironically like she knew him from Philly. That's not ironic. That's just a coincidence.
Coincidentally, I knew him.
Yeah.
So then the proofreader didn't, or the ghostwriter didn't catch it either.
Yeah. This was really a mistake of the editor. Whoever's editing this should have caught that. But, you know, just something I know. It bothered me. I was just kind of like, oh, there that goes again. Like, no, we need to take that out. And she was like, funny enough, Troy went to, that's all you have to say. Like, funny enough, Words mean things.
Okay. Yeah, and I think if I had a note just on the not negative side, but on a more critical note, I mean, it definitely follows the pace of a traditional celebrity memoir, you know, so it could be, I don't want, predictable. I guess if you're really looking for something to say about it in terms of just like the formatting, because like you even mentioned, like this remind me of
all the beats.
It hits all the beats. But at the same time, I don't necessarily, I'm okay with that. Like I felt like that was
entertained.
Fine. I was definitely entertained. And I'm really happy for her because she seems like in this new era of her life, she's really leaning into being a mom. She did touch on, her infertility or her struggle with infertility
and falling in love.
And so
what a white man.
It was definitely
and people giving her shit
for
that.
I like.
You can't do anything right. Like you're just never doing anything right. So yeah, but I thought that was great. Like you found somebody who fucks with you.
I like it for her.
That's the goal. Like he can come in any color.
Yes, he can.
Yeah, but I was really happy when she was I was crying when she was talking about having the baby. Yes.
Oh. I was happy for her.
Yes, when she was talking about, and also just about how she was being played with when she lost a pregnancy, and they didn't tell her that like after that type of loss, you should go in for some follow ups, like you might need a tubal ligation and stuff like that, and that led to complications later down the line. So, you just have to fight. So everything's a fight. You got to fight so hard in this world.
Eve.
So, but she's a fighter though. So I'm going to give this, can I rate it now?
Yeah.
I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 little tiger tattoos, chest tattoos.
I like it.
Yeah,
like
tiger claws.
Yeah, and I'm also going to give it 4 out of 5. Blonde, like short, the Eve haircut. I'm giving it that.
Yeah, the platinum boy.
Gotta give it platinum. Yeah. So, really enjoyed this memoir. I think if you're a fan of Eve, you won't be disappointed. Again, like, if you're a really avid reader, you might catch some stuff like what Kat was saying and stuff like that. I don't think that it destroyed the story at all, though. She's still a really compelling person. I admire her a lot, and I think she's extremely talented, and she seems like a nice woman. So I'm happy for her. Good for you, girl. You and your baby and your millionaire and your life in England and all of that stuff. Kudos to you. You guys, I definitely would recommend this book. It was very, very, very good. So I guess we should spin the wheel then, since we got to get the hell up out of here. So spin it. Ooh, friend, you got to make this announcement. This is fun.
Okay, so coming up next on the book, Fake Ass Book Club. A book We Refuse by Kelly Carter Jackson. And it's just going to be a history of Black resistance in America.
I
have a feeling we might need that in our life coming up. No reason.
Yeah, because this will come up. This episode where we review that book will be coming out a few days after the inauguration. So we figured.
And MLK Day.
And MLK Day. So we just wanted to do something that we felt like might make us feel good. You know, just kind of a salve for our souls. Yeah.
But like I said, every day you got to fight.
Yeah, man.
Fight's never over. You got to remain a soldier till the war's won.
Yeah, man.
Chop, chop, chop. Judo flip.
Oh, gosh.
Dun, 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 dun. Chop, chop, chop.
I like it. Boondocks. So, guys, I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Oh, you know what? We got an email from a listener. That was really dope. I want to shout them out real quick. MASH. Shout out to you, MASH. They said that they rewatched Imitation of Life recently, and that they were looking for podcasts that were reviewing it, and so they listened to ours and enjoyed the episode. So shout out to you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for the feedback. But they also recommended like a book, because we briefly talked about racism in Brazil, and they were like, "Oh, I recommended." They recommended I think it's a movie actually, The Second Mother, and it says it's slightly similar to Imitation of Life, but told from the perspective of the maid. And then like even put a link in and stuff if we wanted to check it out. So shout out to you, MASH. Thank you for doing that.
Yes.
So with that in mind, guys, if you have book recommendations or if you have any kind of art that you got, like you guys will want us to review on the show or talk about or just check out, let us know. You can hit us up at thefabpodcast@gmail.com. Obviously, we check our emails.
And if there's still tickets left, let me say it right. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. The Pro Comics Pro Choice charity comedy show with headliner Mandy McLeavy, Saturday, January 18th. So it's coming Saturday at the Wit Theater. If there's still tickets left, you should get some because Planned Parenthood, it's a fundraiser for Planned Parenthood. So you should go to that.
You should.
And if the tickets are sold out and you can't go, you should still give them money.
Just donate.
Because Planned Parenthood is awesome. No matter how much bad stuff is tried to say about them, they're good.
Second that emotion. Or that motion, rather, not emotion.
Thank you. Well, I had emotion. I said a passion. I have a lot of emotion about it.
It's okay, friend.
Thank you.
Should. So I think that's it, guys. I think we're going to get on out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed the show this week, you guys. Tap in next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. If you haven't shared this show, if you actually listen to this, if you tune in, all three of you guys, listen, look at me now. If you're watching on YouTube, share the show. This is how we grow. This is how we are able to, just stay inspired to continue to create the content that you love. So please do share this, like, subscribe, do all the things to help support your girls here. And we're going to let you get out of here. We know y'all got stuff to do. So bye.
Before we go, we must give thanks to Urban Nerd for providing our music, and legal services were handled by Trezanae M. Atkins. If you like what you heard, please feel free to join us every Wednesday for another fake-ass book club. Cheers. Thank you guys for listening. You can check us out at thefabpodcast.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you're listening right now. We want to hear from you. Come put it in our life. Thanks again, and until next time, peace, love, and the Fake Ass Book Club. We out.